Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, y'all. Another opportunity to either make money in the market or to just learn from the market. But let me go ahead and give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. With that being said, let's get started. We are now looking at the VIX, y'all. And as you can see, we are down here finding support at this level of 1563. So this 1563 brings us under the 5 EMA. So back to the upside, we would definitely need to get back above the 5 EMA, which is at the 1563 level, and 1579 could be a trouble place. Again, here at 1596, which is not far from the 1602 area, that could be a trouble place. 1609, again at 1616 and 1629. Those are going to be trouble places to the upside for the VIX. So I'm going to set my alert above this ATR trailing stop just to let me know that if we should break back to the upside, that we may have some trouble, right? That means the SPY is probably going down. Normally when the VIX is up, the SPY is down. Now, to the downside for the VIX, if we lose this area of support at 1563 or 1560, we can come back to 1536 and again here at 1486. So those are going to be support places for the VIX. Now, looking at the SPY, and y'all keep in mind, we have information coming out today, and that's very important, the FOMC rate decision and the conference today. So keep that in mind. It could move the market. Because we're running does not mean that we cannot stop, find some, get rejected and come back to the downside really fast. As quick as we went up, we could very well come down. So keep that in mind. Not saying that's the case, right? But we do have some gaps that need to be filled to the downside. So needed to throw that out there. We are now looking at the SPY. SPY closed at 591.04. We have made a pre-market high of 592.95. What's interesting about the SPY is what I noticed on yesterday. We marked a pre-market, the gathering spot, right? SPY came down to this low only to bounce, but we stayed in this zone. I mean, it really brought us back to where we have been trading all day. So it really wasn't a really huge move in my opinion, right? From the morning bell up until 3 o'clock. Looks like we tried to break through that a little after 3:30, 4 o'clock area, only to come back down. So it's really not making really big moves. So does that tell me that we're nearing the top? That's something to be mindful of. So I would definitely pay attention to this zone here because we're having trouble in this zone for the SPY. That means that's where price has been hanging out for a while, and there's a reason that it's hanging out there, right? That's always important to remember. There's a reason that we're hanging out in this spot. So 592.96 is our high. Now back to the downside, I would definitely watch the SPY under 591.50. If we break 591.50, 591.87, which is here where this ATR trailing stop is, under 590, 89, or the 97 area, I would definitely watch the 590.16. Under 590.16, I would watch 588.85. Under that, 588.13. Again at the 587.23 and the 588.67. Now if we lose the 588.67, there's a lot of support here that we can possibly find support. What will be interesting for me is if we get down to the 585.29, because that's where our gap starts to be filled to the downside. So under 585.29 is where I definitely need to pay attention. As you can see, I have an alert set there. So those are trouble places for the SPY today to the downside. If we continue climbing, I say just trade carefully, y'all. So let's go to Tesla just to see where we are today. Tesla closed at 288.53. Again, Tesla is trading in this zone, as you can see here, right? So it's interesting that we're at this place. Why? Because whatever move we make could be a strong, to the upside or to the downside. However, we've been just consolidating or trading in this zone for a while. So we need to watch this level, right? So the high of this candle here is 289.73, or the high of this area here, not the candle, is 289.73. We definitely need to watch that to the upside for Tesla. If we break that 289.73, we can come back to 293.50. So again, if we break the 289.73, we can come back to the 293.50 area for Tesla. Now to the downside, it wouldn't surprise Tesla. It does what it does. Let me say that. So under 286.50, we could very well come back down and find support in this area of 283.98. If we lose at 283.98, 281.08 is a support area here for Tesla. And again, here at 279.60, I would definitely watch the 279.60. If by chance we break that level, my concern is if Tesla break under 274.62, that's a trigger, that's where the gap fill starts back to the downside. So I have an alert set under that 274.62. So those are trouble places for Tesla today, to the upside and to the downside. Keep in mind, anything is possible in the market, y'all. Nothing is guaranteed. The market does what it does. We are looking at Apple. Apple closed at 222.72. Apple is trading in this zone here, and pre-market support, we can mark that around 222.92 area. Resistance was around the 223.36, and it looks like we're trying to break out of that. So that resistance is now our support area. So it looks like we're trying to break from this area. So I always say, where are the trouble places? As you can see, I went to identify my gathering spot, and then I marked the levels of where the candles are. That's exactly how I do that, right? So 223.81 could be a possible trouble place for Apple. If we should break that level, we could possibly have trouble here around the 224.01. And if we break the 224.01, 224.28. If we break that level, 224.57. And if we should break that level, 224.95. Those are going to be trouble places for Apple to the upside. Now that 224.90 or 95 area for Apple is the 200 EMA on this 30-minute chart. So I would definitely watch that. Now, to the downside, if by chance we break under 222.92, we could possibly have trouble at 222.60. I would definitely watch that area. 222.60, if we break that level, 222.28 could be a support area. And if we lose that level, 221.98, if we break beyond the 221.98, this ATR trailing stop is at 221.86, which is not that far. So if you trade Apple today, I would definitely watch those places, because y'all, this market is interesting. Let me say that. We're now looking at AMD. AMD closed at 145.10 today. And I always say, where are the trouble places? This is our gathering spot here on this 30-minute chart. I'm going to mark that here. And as you can see, the price, the body of the candles are in this zone here. So I use that to help me as a support area. My resistance would have been here at this level, around the 146.43, but I had already had this level marked, so I'm going to stick with the level that I had marked because I have it for a reason, right? So support is around the 146.21. Resistance I'm going to leave at 146.57. We're breaking past that area, only to know that we could possibly have trouble here at 147.14. So I would definitely watch 147.14 if we should break that for AMD. 147.61, 148.24 if we is a trouble place. If we break the 148.24, AMD can come back to 149.63 and have trouble in that area. So if you trade AMD, trade carefully. Now back to the downside, if by chance we break under the 146.21, we can find support here at this 200 EMA around the 145.60 area. I would watch that. If we lose the 145.60, I would definitely watch the 144.99 for AMD. Under that 144.99, 144.59. And if we should lose the 144.59, we're losing a lot of support in this area here. That's a previous support area, and the ATR trailing stop and the 50 EMA. So I would definitely watch the 144.42. If we break under that for AMD, we could possibly come back to 143.71. So those are support and resistance areas for AMD. So if you trade AMD, y'all know I always say trade carefully. In the market, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. Now, let's look at NVDA today just to see where we are. We closed at 145.61, and price is just trading in this zone. It's like immediately my eye go to this area of where price is just gathered, right? So as of right now, these are levels that I will watch for NVIDIA here as support around the 145.36 area, and resistance around the 145.80. Price is trading in this zone. It looks like it's trying to break out of that zone. Now, if by chance we break, I would say back above this level of 146.23. We could still have trouble at 146.29. And NVIDIA is interesting because of the run up that we had here. So y'all trade carefully today. I'm going to look to the downside under 145.39. We could possibly find support at 145.27. If we lose that 145.27, 144.61. And if we should lose that 144.61, 144.13. If we lose the 144.13, the ATR trailing stop is here at 143.98. I will definitely watch that. And if by chance we lose support there, 143.69 is where I would possibly look for trouble, or 143.32. So those are going to be support areas for NVIDIA to the downside. Keep in mind, NVIDIA also has a gap that needs to be filled. My concern is if we get down towards the 141.93. Not saying that I see that today. I'm just saying I know that there's a gap that needs to be filled. The 141.93 would be a concern for me. So I'm going to set an alert under this level to let me know if by chance NVIDIA should drop beyond that low today, that we are definitely headed in the area of filling a gap. So I need to be careful with that. So yeah, y'all, let's see where we are today. Bitcoin is interesting. It looks like we're around the 75,000 range at this point. And again, I normally don't do cryptocurrency on this channel as of now, but I do look at some of the stocks that could benefit from crypto, let's say that, or Bitcoin, let's say that. So Coinbase is one of those. As you can see here, we have support marked at 243.21, resistance at around 245.7, well, was around 245.74. And as of right now, it seems like our resistance is at the 248.63. I would definitely watch the 248.63 area, back to the upside. Now, if we lose that area, I would watch 254.42 to the upside, and again 257.56 to the upside. So if we lose those areas or break through those areas, that would definitely be places that I would watch for coin. And back to the downside, under 243.21, we could possibly find support at 239.67. Again here at 238.14. And if we lose the 248.13, I would watch the 232.46. If we break through the 242.36, 220.61 is going to be an interesting place, because there's where the gap that needs to be filled to the downside for Coinbase. So yeah, if you trade coin today, just keep in mind that, let's see how much it normally moves on an average per day. The ATR for Coinbase is $16.94, which is interesting, right? So yeah, I would definitely say if you trade it today, trade carefully. In the market, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. Let's see if what Mara is doing today. Mara closed at 1932. Again, we're finding support at this area around 1878. Resistance is around 1888. If we should break the 1888 area, we could have trouble at 1903, again at 1913, 1932, and again here at 1958. Those are places to the upside that I would watch for Mara to the upside, right? So now under this level of 1877, Mara could very well come back and find support at 1845. If we lose that area, 1825, which the 1825 is going to be a strong area of support in my opinion, because we have several layers of support. So if by chance we break under around the 1817 area, I would say we're losing some strong support for Mara. Now, if we lose that area, I would definitely pay attention to the 1793 area. Under 1793, I would watch the 1782. Again, what would be concerning for Mara is if we break under the 1723 area, because it too has a gap that needs to be filled to the downside, y'all. So in the market today, it should be very, very interesting. Trade carefully. I always say, once it goes against your why, get out. I always say, live to trade another day, y'all. So I hope these videos are very, very helpful. And if you could please like, share, comment,